Welcome to the second part of my adventures in Sedona about part two of the continuation of the morning session. Part two is called Breathwork, and that was right after lunchtime. I didn't know what breathwork was until I went to Sedona. So my afternoon session began around, I think it was around 3 o'clock. And when I met the lady, I was kind of nervous. I kind of heard about it before. I heard it was supposed to bring feelings of floating and kind of leaving your body, but I wasn't sure about any of this. I was kind of scared. So I went to see the lady. I spoke to her. She had a European accent. I can't remember exactly what country it was from, but I remember she was very nice and calm when speaking to me. So the first thing I had to do was sit down, and she explained what breath work was. The idea of breath work is to breathe at a certain pace or rate in and out, and you do this continuously, and you don't pause when you're breathing in and out. You just breathe in and out over and over again. And the idea, it's supposed to control the amount of oxygen that your body is getting, but what it really does is it allows your body or your mind to go into like a state. I would say, if you've ever done marijuana, that high feeling you get, but this is done without any drugs, just breathing. So part of my healing session was to kind of go into a different state of mind, a different state altogether. And so she had me lie down on this, I don't know, it was like a flat mat. I can't remember if I had a pillow or not. I think maybe I had a pillow. And she told me what to expect, described everything in detail. And the one thing she told me to do, and I still remember it to this day, was she said, "Ian, when you feel like giving up, please don't give up. Just keep fighting whatever you do when you get to that point." And I told her, okay. And I don't know what this meant, but when I tell you the rest of the story, you'll understand what that means a little more. So as the session begins, she put these headphones in my ears so my ears wouldn't pick up any outside noise away from the music going through into my ears. And I remember when I started to breathe, it was very uncomfortable because I wasn't used to breathing that way. It was very unnatural to breathe in and out with no pause. And I got tired for the first 5 minutes because it was just unnatural. But I remember her telling me to just breathe. And she kept guiding me into the breathing sessions. And I just did what she said. I didn't know what to expect. I just continued to breathe. And at the same time, there was noise playing in my ears. Almost like an annoying rock music. No real rhythm, just like random loud music. And I was breathing and breathing and breathing. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, this is not going to work. And at the same time, my eyes I had one of those blackout things over my eyes so I couldn't see anything. So my senses were being blocked out at the moment. My eyes were blocked out. My ears were being played with music. So I think that was done on purpose. As I continued to breathe, I remember I didn't know what time it was. I lost sense of time. And as I was breathing, things started getting really weird. And I started seeing random faces flash into my mind. Faces of women, random people, some men, just random faces. I don't even know what the faces were. Just faces would come up. They'd go away, and there's flashes of light. I remember flashes of light. And every time I'd try to stop breathing, I remember I could hear the voice, the person's voice helping me with the session, telling me just to keep going. So I'd keep going to stay into that state I was in. The weird part is, even describing this now, several months later, it still affects me a little bit just talking about it. I'm not going to cry about it, but it really is powerful. And so I continued to breathe. And then I remember the faces stopped. And when they stopped, I remember looking down. Now, my eyes are closed, so I can't see anything. Everything's now in my mind. And I remember vividly that there was a glow, some kind of aura glow light. But I recognize that light because that was my light. I've seen that light before when I meditated. So I recognized myself and I could see my true self. So I felt fine. But then as I looked out, there's another light almost similar to my light, but it wasn't mine. It was something else. I didn't know what it was. And I remember the light coming close to me, and I was kind of scared. So I'm backing up. In my mind, I'm backing up. Now, I'm still lying on the ground in the physical world, but in my mind, I'm moving. And the more I move, the more this light comes closer to me, and I can't get away fast enough because I'm getting kind of scared. But I stop breathing again, and the lady continues to tell me just to breathe and breathe, and I continued to breathe, and I didn't know what was going on. And then the other light was something else. It wasn't a bad light or a negative light. It was just something I didn't recognize. At least I thought I didn't recognize it. And I proceeded to back up more, and the light, I didn't know what it was, kept coming closer and closer and closer. And the more it got close, the more I backed up. And then I just stopped, and the light, it seemed to just come up on me, and I remember trying to let go and move, and the light, whatever it was fighting me, and it wouldn't, I don't know what it was, it wouldn't stop fighting. And the harder I fought, the stronger this force was that was taking me. I didn't know what it was. And I remember being very scared because I don't know what was fighting me so much. I kept trying to run away, and the force continued to fight me more and more. And as I struggled more and more, the force got stronger and stronger, and I got even more scared. I'm kind of tearing up a little bit. I didn't know what to do. And all of a sudden, I remember what the lady told me before the session started. She said, whatever you do, just, don't give up. When the time comes, just keep fighting. And all of a sudden I remember that, and I just started fighting and fighting this thing, and just fighting and fighting. And I remember, why is this thing fighting me? I don't know what's going on, but I just wouldn't give up. And then I remember just all of a sudden, I don't know if it was a sudden, but I just said, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't know if I gave up. I just didn't want to fight anymore with this thing. So all of a sudden, I just stopped. I guess I gave up. I just stopped. And as soon as I stopped, this light, this force, whatever it was, also stopped. And I didn't know what to do. It just, whatever the thing was that was fighting me stopped, and I stopped. And I remember looking to see if I could find the light. And at one point, we were separate. The light and I were separate. I could see two distinct auras of light, mine and then something else, but I couldn't recognize the other one. And then I looked around me again. I realized that light was now in me, or part of me. The same light I was fighting was in me. And every time I moved my hand, the light would move the hand at the same time. That goes on top of my light. And I didn't know what was going on. I just kind of sat there in this place, and I didn't know what was going on at this point. This light was around me. I gave up fighting, and I was just here, alone, by myself. I didn't know what to do. So I just kept breathing, and at some point the music changed to this softer melody. And I remember when the music changed, this force also changed, and it felt more peaceful. There was no more fighting. And then I could feel something in my soul. I don't know what it was. I don't know if this is what God or love feels like, but it's something in my spirit felt warm and pure. I don't know how else to describe it. And wherever I was in this place, I lost track of time, and I didn't know what to do. I just sat there, but I didn't feel lost. I felt something powerful and whole and beautiful. And then all of a sudden, I remember feeling this physically in my head. It felt like my head was growing bigger and bigger and bigger. And right when it felt like my head was going to pop, the lady stopped the music and took I think she took the eye patch or the eye blinders off of me. Maybe I took it off, I don't know. And then I look up and I see the lady looking down at me, and I didn't have many words to say. I just kind of looked at her, and I didn't know what to do. I couldn't move. I couldn't think about anything in my head of the experience I just had. I didn't know what I was doing, where I was for a minute. I knew I was in the room, but I couldn't think. I couldn't do anything. So the counselor asked me some questions about what I saw, what it felt like. And she asked me, did you give up? I said, well, I fought like you told me to, and I kept fighting, but yet at one point I stopped. And when I stopped, the light stopped. She goes, what light? I'm like, I saw another light, and I seem to be fighting this light. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened to me. So at this point, I'm still laying on the mat. I'm not really moving. I'm not really thinking. I just don't know anything that's going on. But the lady's trying to talk to me to try to figure out, what happened to me. And she said, do you know how long you were breathing? I said, I don't know, probably 20 minutes. She was, you're breathing for an hour and 45 minutes, which is one of the longest she said she ever had. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but it didn't feel like an hour and 45 minutes. And then I looked at the clock. I came in at 3 o'clock. It started about 3, and the clock said like 4:40, 4:45. I was supposed to be done at 4:30, and it was 4:45, and I had another appointment at 6:30 or 7. I couldn't leave the place for another, I think, almost 45 minutes. I just sat there, and I couldn't think, or I could move, but I couldn't think. I didn't know what was going on, and the lady just kept asking me questions about what I felt, what did I see, and I told her, and she told me something, and I didn't know. I didn't know what to think. She said, you met something and you were fighting with something, but in the end, what was it you were fighting? Do you have any idea what it possibly was? I said, I don't know. It was a light. But I told her the light kind of engulfed me at the end, and I'm just trying to remember all these details. It's so much. And she said, oh, it sounds like you probably found what you're looking for. And I'm not getting all this right, but I said, what are you talking about? She goes, you may have found yourself. And I just kind of sat there and I looked at her, and I remember looking at her in the eyes, and when she said that, I just started crying because no one's ever told me that before. So I went to this place searching for answers about my existence and my truth. And I ended up finding myself that I've been searching for my entire existence. So after talking with the lady a couple more, she said, I think you found what you've been looking for a long time, but I don't think you found it. I think it was always there. And it sounds like the conflict you had was within yourself. It wasn't with anybody else. And when she said this, I came to the realization that she was 100% right. All the conflicts I've had in my life has been with myself and accepting myself and loving myself. And up until that point, I never realized who I was really. I never realized what I was and my purpose. I always kept my inner self away, and up until that point, I didn't know I had an inner self. I don't know, but at that moment, I knew I found something great and powerful. So, this is difficult to talk about, but I still can't do breath work today. Not because it's bad, but because it's just a very powerful thing to do. Anybody that's looking to find a different state of mind, to just seek something within themselves, within themselves, to a higher level, if you can figure out breath work really and to practice it once, twice a week, I'm telling you, it'll change your life. I'm scared to do it because I don't know. Going to that place and fighting me was very, I can't describe it. It was soul changing. I don't know how else to describe it. After I left there, I went to end the session that day with a massage. And the lady asked me what happened in the session before, and I told her, and she was extremely nice. And I remember I was getting the massage, but I remember it was very peaceful in there. But I also remember when she was giving me a massage, it felt like she cared about me. I don't know if it was just me being extra sensitive, but I've gotten massages before, and this one was different. I don't know. I can't describe it, but it almost felt like she cared about me at that moment, that she wasn't just doing it for a job. So that was the end of my second day in Sedona. If you want to ask me about the breath work and the morning sessions or any of the sessions on the second day, just if we were together or on the phone or wherever, just tell me to describe it. I'll go through and describe it again. But the breath work was probably the most powerful thing I've ever done in my entire existence as a human, a spiritual being, whatever I am. And I'll never forget it. So I hope this episode has touched somebody. I hope that it's giving you guys something to think about in your lives. I hope anything that you do, I hope that you question who you are and why you're here. Don't ever accept answers about who people want you to be. You search for the answers and you search for your own truth. Don't ever let anybody tell you what to believe ever in your life. Ever. Just don't do it. Find the truth yourself. Seek God. Seek whatever it is that's out there. Seek it yourself. And find it yourself. Don't let anybody manipulate you or tell you who you are or who you can be or who you listen to. You search for the path yourself. And I guarantee when you find yourself, you're going to be so happy. But that's all I have for you guys today. I have episode 3 coming up, hopefully in about 3 weeks. I don't have any equipment right now to record these podcasts, so I'm doing this by my phone and doing all the producing on a laptop, so it's taking me a little bit longer. But episode 3 will come out in like 2-3 weeks, and then after that, I'm hoping now that I will start recording episodes again. But like I said, welcome to the Family Mess Podcast again, 2024. Thank you guys, and God bless.